Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Yesterday, we looked at CDN. We have looked at many techniques, what streaming is to be done, audio, video, general parameter. Today, we'll get more specific to voice over IP in detail. When you transmit voice, a packet loss occurs. How can we recover it? What are the different choices? What are the real requirements? What the packet size could be? And we look at all those aspects. We know that we are talking of carrying multimedia network or voice over IP network, and hence is called VoIP or voice over IP. Now, IP provides best effort service. Best effort service means IP does not guarantee anything that packet will be delivered in a given time, packet will be delivered in a given order, or packet will be delivered in sequence or in two packets the same with my best efforts with no guarantees. Something like post office, you drop a letter in letterbox, post office delivers best effort service. It may deliver, it may not, the letter may get lost, but in general we know letter get delivered. Sometimes letter get delivered after a month, 2 months, all kind of things happen. But conversational applications has a requirement. When you're looking at the voice, primary requirement for voice is that whenever somebody speaks, when I start transmitting, it should be played at the receiver in less than 150 millisecond. When voice is delivered less than 150 millisecond, then we will really believe it's interactive, there are no delays, it looks like we are talking, sitting in front of each other. If there are any delays, then that somehow indicates that there is some delay, something is happening. We don't get the real-time conversational aspect. Hard delays become noticeable, and then the freeness with which one to interact, somehow we are not that comfortable. If delay happens to be between 150 and 400 millisecond, as a human, we can notice the delay, but acceptable, we can work with it, is okay. But if delay happens to be more than 400 millisecond, then it's considered bad and we really think it is not working well. So how do we deal with it? Further, there are other issues. When you make a telephone call through telephone, mobile phone or landline, we know the number. We dial the number and call happens. If somebody is on a voice IP, how do we initiate the session? How do you know what is his equivalent address in the IP word is? And that is where we'll probably study called SIP protocol. That will be last topic of this module 4 that we're going to study most likely next week. What is the IP address, port number, what encoding should be used, what is the error correction method, and so on so forth. In our telephone network, especially with mobile phone, we have a lot of features call forwarding, call recording, screening, whatever. Call forwarding meaning when you dial the number, I put a call forward, so call gets forwarded to another number. Or screen, I can filter out, block, or I can record or do all kind of things. Telephone network in India, how hoping it will work fine. Same is in US 911, and there mostly it is very effective. The moment you dial a number 911, your police and ambulance would be there at a doorstep within 10 minutes. And I have called 2-3 times for somebody got a heart attack. I called them in office and they were there in about 6 minutes. At home, something has happened, medical case, they were there in about 7-8 minutes. So it is very effective in US. In India, I had no experience with 112. If anyone has experience, they can share how well it works. City, it still might, rural areas, we still have challenges in coming up. But if you are moving everything to voice over IP, how would the emergency services work? How would somebody call? And how would somebody reach? Other problem is when you dial 112 or 911, the police knows where are you and they get a map, your location, they come to you. But if you're calling voice over IP, knowing your location would be very tough. You're not restricted to a given place that is IP address means this particular Karakpura road or somewhere or KSIT. So it is challenge for providing emergency services. Now when dealing with voice over IP, like when I'm speaking, even though I'm speaking continuously, talk is always in talk spurts. Spurts meaning there are always silent periods. This could be half a second, 1 second, 2 seconds. There's a voice segment for 5, 10, 20 seconds. And then there is a silence. Then again you have a voice. So you always have a silence in between. Can this silence be even used to manage with voice over IP packet loss? We've seen that the raw digital channel for voice over IP is called PCM channel, which requires a bandwidth of 64 kilobits per second. That is because we sample voice at the rate of 8,000 samples per second, which is based on Nyquist theorem, which says the sampling rate should be twice the maximum frequency. The normal human frequency is 300 to 3400, taking a max 4000, doubling it 8000, that's a sampling rate. That gives us a raw channel voice at 64 kilobit per second. Now we don't have to send packet for the silence, because silence we don't have to play. So we can send packets only for the spurts. But one has to identify when does one spurt start and when does other spurt start, something of that kind. At what frequency we should be transmitting voice? So typically voice over IP, a voice segment is sent every 20 milliseconds. Now we need to send 8,000 kilobytes per second, and we are sending 20 milliseconds one segment. So if you were to do how much data you can send, if you multiply 20 milliseconds into 8 kilobytes, what you get is 160 bytes. That means each voice or IP chunk or segment, or each voice IP packet is about, let's say, 160 bytes. And this is what gets transmitted. Of course, this is the raw voice data. It will be sending on UDP or TCP, which will add their own headers, IP will add their own headers, and get transmitted. Could be lost. IP is best of a service. UDP is called glorified IP. There is no ACK, there is no congestion control, no retransmission. So ACK is lost. If network is congested, that is because router buffers are overflow, too many senders, it can't process a packet, it will simply drop. Or even receiver is out of buffer, it's sending too many packets, so it will not do. Given that this is the problem with UDP, can we use TCP? If we use TCP to send voice over IP packets, what could be the problems? Any thoughts by anyone? You know UDP packet could be lost and it doesn't care about congestion and receiver flow control. So if you were to use TCP, what could be the problem? TCP ensures you that packets are delivered in order, they are delivered uncorrupted. So what is the problem TCP poses if we were to use TCP for voice over IP transmission? Anyone? Tarun? I'm Tarun. What could be the problem when you use TCP to send voice over IP packets? Monica, yeah, anybody else? Karthik Prakash? Aruna?
Sir, if the packet is sent,
Mm-hmm.
if there is a problem, the
Mm-hmm.
packet will be resent again fully, sir.
Okay. So what is wrong? That's good, na? If packet is sent again, we are not losing a packet. So what could be the problem? Because if we lose a packet, then we can't play, so we have a quality issue. If TCP is retransmitting, getting a packet, then what could be the problem?
Low quality audio.
Yeah, Dhruv, what is your saying?
Sir, low quality audio.
Why? Packet is getting retransmitted, I'll get the packet. So
Yes,
what,
sir.
so what is the problem that happens with retransmission?
There's
Anuya,
a
yeah, go ahead.
repetition, sir.
No, there no repetition because TCP delivers only one copy. TCP doesn't deliver multiple packets. Remember, we said TCP reliability means in order delivery, uncorrupted delivery, no duplicates, no packet loss. That's what TCP gives you. So if you were to use TCP instead of UDP, what could be the challenges? Anuya,
Yes, sir.
what could be the problem when you use TCP? Avinash,
Yes, sir.
yeah, what could be the problem?
Sir,
We're not losing any packet, so TCP should be good. Why should we ever use UDP?
Sir, maybe because TCP will use more because it uses to channels, for one for the
No,
connection
no,
and
no,
one.
no. TCP is a channel by itself.
Sir, TCP requires reliable transport layer. That's why, sir.
Yeah. So what is the issue? If you're not losing any packet, that's good, man. You will get a better quality. Look, what is the key requirement of our conversational application? When you do conversational communication, voice over IP, what is the key requirement?
Minimum delay.
Minimum delay. For a human, if you're looking at very interactive, delay should be less than 150 and maximum 400 milliseconds. Anything more, it becomes bad quality. Now let's say we have 100 voice segments and voice segment number 11 is lost. Because TCP always do sequential delivery, even though I have received segment number 12, 13, 14 onwards, because 11 has not been received, TCP would not deliver 12, 13, 14. Sender has to retransmit 11 again. And by the time it gets the ACK, it retransmits, it may be more than 400 milliseconds. So that means not even packet number 11, packet number 12, 13, 14 also would not be delivered. Because of delay, all those packets would be considered lost. So retransmit could cause good amount of delay and we would lose conversational aspect of our application. And that is the problem really with TCP. Because it increases end-to-end delay and our conversational applications are very, very sensitive to end-to-end delay. And now because we are doing retransmit, so my effective transmission rate by sender also decreases. So my playout rate at the receiver, I'll be running out of buffers as well. And these are the issues. Thus, that is the reason because TCP could cause significant delay. Most applications prefer UDP for voice over IP. If some packet is lost, fine. At least we get the next packet, continue with it. And we'll see how does it really work. Packet loss, depending on how we are communicating, how much is the silence. So 1 to 20%, 20% seems on high end, but depending on the circumstances, this may even be acceptable. We also need to look at when packet loss occurs, how does application conceal and acts like there is no packet loss. So the receiver doesn't know there is a packet loss. So can it be done? If so, how it is done? And we look at that aspects. We know that we are looking at the for voice conversational delays, maximum delay should be less than 400 milliseconds. Try to keep between 150 to 400. If we can keep less than 400, great. Anything beyond 400 is certainly considered bad and we don't think it is a good quality voice. Now, IP cannot guarantee you any delivery. IP may cause packet delay to more than 400. So if we receive packet after 400 milliseconds, from application perspective, it is practically lost. So either we don't receive it, or we receive too late, as good as to receive, we not receive it. The packet is lost. And it has to do some technique, something called concealment to figure out how to deal with lost packet. And we look at those shortly. Other challenge is the jitter. What is jitter? I talked about it earlier. Chandan, what is jitter? Niharika, Dhanlakshmi, Dhananjay.
Sir, the variation in the delay is jitter, sir.
Yeah. So can you give an example? Definition is right, but can you give an example?
So when we are talking and sometimes we are having 1 second delay. After a while we start having 2 second delays and then
Yeah.
4 second and then again we have 1 second. So that will
Yeah.
be jitter, sir.
So that's the variation in delay. So that is called jitter, and if you have too much jitter in the network, it needs to handle. So the transmitter always sends at the constant rate, as you said, for voice over IP, transmitter will send packets every 20 milliseconds. So transmitter is sending at the fixed rate. They may arrive at not at the same interval, but with different times. An example could be two of you driving cars or two of you driving, let's say, start from KSIT, and assuming you have both same speed and same driving style, and try to start one after the other with a 5 second delay. When you reach your destination, let's say you want to go to Jayanagar, you may not reach with a gap of 5 seconds. It could be less, it could be more, it could be anything. So how does voice over applications deal with jitter? We need to look at that. And basically meaning if jitter is too much, you might lose a packet. And if jitter is too much, our voice would be bad. So look at the technique, how the jitter can be handled. So typically what we do is the three mechanism. One is called sequence numbers, time stamping. Try to put those in and then order the packet number. If you get in sequence, or with time stamping, within the time stamp you play the packet. And we look at that when we deal with RTP, the protocol that deals with that. So this first graph or first line shows you constant transmission. Packet is being transmitted, next packet transmitted, next packet transmitted, and so on and so forth. So first packet transmission, second packet transmission, third packet transmission. Now because of variable delay, this packet will come at this time, this packet will come at different time, they arrive at different time. And then that is called a variable delay. So if client starts to play at this point, you might have a problem. You want to make sure that whatever variable delay is, you should accommodate that. But if we keep too large a play out delay, then that is a bad experience. This can work possibly for live streaming, but not for live conversation. Because this overall delay should be less than 400 milliseconds. So if we keep more than that, then we would have problem there. And certainly we don't want that to happen. So how does receiver try to deal with jitter? So basically, sender could put time stamp on each packet, and the sender the time stamp on each packet. Receiver knows that packets are coming at 20 milliseconds, and as long as the packet arrives within 400 milliseconds or whatever time I look at, I'll play that packet. If it is more, I can't play the packet. So because I know the time stamp of the sender, I know what is the maximum delay I'm willing to tolerate between 150 to 400, whatever delay, and I'll play the packet only if my total delay is within that. If it is more, I'm not going to play as good as packet is lost. Now this playout delay, we could fix it, or it could even vary. Sorry, there's a typo error there. If we always keep a fixed delay, then we don't have a scope. If we keep a variable delay, how will that work? So look at, if some packets are arriving late, we can maybe increase the silence period a bit more. So receiver would not think that sender is not speaking. He say, oh, sender is speaking slowly because we introduce a silence. So if we introduce a variable delay, we can probably still manage and how to deal with packets. So we consider Q is the delay, fixed delay. If T is the time at which sender sends the packet, receiver should play the packet exactly at T plus Q time. If data arrives after T plus Q, T is the time sender is sending the transmit time, and receiver decided that fixed delay would be Q milliseconds or Q seconds, and thus doesn't matter what time packet come, the packet will be played at T plus Q time. And this is what is called a fixed delay. And if packets arrive late, it will be considered lost. Now, if it is we keep large queue, we can handle more with packet loss because packet arriving delayed, we'll be able to adjust those. So we'll be able to deal with large packet loss. But this will be bad for voice quality because we think the little hits. If we keep a small queue, voice interactivity would be good, but we might have a more chances of packet loss. So we need to somehow adjust and look at that. And this diagram basically shows how the fixed delay and the variable delay basically works. So this is the packet transfer time, packet received at the time R, but we play at time T. So this is what is called queue. So even the packet is arrived here, we start playing here. And by the time this packet is played, the second packet has already arrived, second packet is played here, and so on and so forth. At this point in time, you're playing, but next packet wanted to play here, but packet comes here. See, all these cases, packet has come just before we can play well. But since we're playing at the fixed rate, this packet has come here. We want to play here, but packet comes here, is delayed and we can't play, and this packet is lost. So if I want to increase my delay from P to P prime, then we can play every packet, but overall delay is more, so we'll have a little poor interactivity. So we have to make a compromise. What should our delay be? And that is what, if it's a fixed delay, we need to keep a large delay, otherwise you'll have a trouble there. If we can do variable delay, our life would certainly be better. And most of the time we end up doing the variable delay. So can we do the adjustment? That means if we're trying to play with variable delay, go back and recall our discussion on TCP. We used to make a timeout and time or delay we are getting. So can we use the same mechanism? So basically we estimate for a delay. So Ti is the time when packet is transmitted. Ri is the time stamp when packet is received. So Ti is the time when packet is transmitted. Ti is the time packet is transmitted. Ri is the time packet is received. So actual delay or observed delay is R1 Ri minus Ti. You multiply by some factor alpha and we look at the previous delay. So Di is the estimated delay which we compute. We are trying to do variable delay. We look at previous delay, multiply by 1 minus alpha and current delay multiply by alpha. So this is called exponential moving average. We give more weightages to last delay, observed delay than the previous delays because they get subsumed by the other things. Now this delay would vary because we are doing estimate. So Di would vary from packet to packet. So we basically, if we just work with this, we might have too many jars. We want to smoothen it out and make sure that when we play the packets, we are able to smooth out and user should see a smooth experience. So essentially, we estimate the delay. Same way what we did in TCP, we also compute the variation in delay. And based on the variation, we basically compute the delay in terms of estimated delay plus the variation. In TCP, we do this estimated delay plus 4 times the variation, that was our round trip time. Same thing we do in TCP. So we basically, Ri minus Ti is our observed delay. Di is the estimated delay. So this is the variation. Ri minus Ti is the observed delay. Di is the estimated delay. So Ri minus Ti minus Di is the variation. And we compute the variation Vi, previous variations and the current variation, same way what we did in TCP. And then we actually play the packet at the delay of play time is the transmit time plus estimated delay Di plus some value K into variable delay. So that means we are trying to keep our delay variable, and as long as we keep that, we would be able to play, and this we do for first packet in the talk spurt. So what is a spurt? A continuous voice segment which is separated by silences. So first packet could be delayed more or less. User will get a feeling that silence there. So receiver does not really see that there has been delay. He thinks sender is speaking but slowly. But once the first packet has been played out, other packet would be played at a constant rate. So this variable delay, play time is applied only to the first packet of the spurt, because this helps us increasing or decreasing our silence period. If user has silence of 1 second, we might make it 1.2 or we might make it 0.8, but after all the packet within the same spurt will play at this constant delay. But first packet of this spurt, we can do variable delay. This basically helps us increasing or decreasing the silence period. But after all the packet of this spurt, they play periodically at the fixed rate. So TJ is the received transmission time minus Ti, because we are, remember, packets are transmitted at always constant interval. So once we compute delay for the first packet of this spurt, all other packet would be played at constant rate, at constant delay time. And the subsequent silence occurs the next spurt. So we compute variable delay only for the first packet of this spurt, and after that we place packet with constant time. This gives you better dealing with the voice quality, better interactivity than what happens. Now, how to determine the first packet of this spurt? That itself is a question. If there is silence, you're probably getting a background noise. But when there's a voice would have high energy signal. So we can basically measure the energy level or signal level of the packets. And the moment we see very high energy level, we know it is the first packet, and we can use that to compute the variable delay and play that. Now, assuming delay occurs, packet is lost. So how do we recover from the packet loss? There are 3 different ways. One is called forward error correction. That means even though we haven't get the packet, can transmit information, something called extra information, recover the packet. Other is interleaving, and third is called concealment. So let us look at simple way how does forward error correction work. This can work when a small amount of packet loss and not too many packet loss. And essentially we do that because if you to retransmit by doing ACK or knock, that will increase my round trip time, and that is as good as packet loss. So we can't do retransmit, does not work. So FEC basically means give some extra information. And using that extra information, try to regenerate the packet which is corrupted or which is lost. So one simple mechanism which is used in forward error correction is consider the n chunks, some n value, and XOR all these n chunks and generate the n plus 1th chunk, which is XORed value of all the n chunks. And using this, we can generate one packet loss. So sender, for every n packet, sender sends n plus 1 packets. And n plus 1 packet is XOR of all those n packets. Now, assuming some packet is lost, let's say sender is sending n packets, so sends D1, D2, D3 n chunks. It computes by XORing all of them and sends this n plus 1 packet. Now we have n plus 1 packet, 1 to n and n plus 1. Some packet is lost. When some packet is lost, how do you determine which is the kth packet? So assuming kth packet is lost, to regenerate that, we can do this n plus 1th packet plus XOR remaining n minus 1. So D1, D2 to DK minus 1, DK plus 1, this will give me DK packet. Why? Because if you were to do XOR, remember, XOR of A with itself always gives you 0. So if I were to XOR DFEC with all this n value will get 0. And since 1 is missing, we generate back the DK packet. So this XORing would work if there is only 1 packet loss. If there are 2 packet loss, this technique won't work. But what is the overhead? For each n packet, we are sending 1 packet extra. That means our bandwidth is increased by 1 by n. So FEC always works by sending some extra information. And extra information is n plus 1. This is the simple way of forward error correction. Other mechanisms could be that we basically do 2 kind of encoding. One is the normal encoding like PCM channel, which is 64 kbps. And other we could you say like GSM encoding, which is 13 kbps. Now with each packet, except the first packet, for each packet, we transmit the 64 kb rate, plus we also transmit lower quality rate of in the second packet a GSM encoding. So packet 1 corresponds to 64 kbps, packet 2 64 kbps, but 13 kbps of packet 1. So each packet is presented with previous encoding encoding. Now assuming this third packet is lost. When third packet is lost, when we get the fourth packet, we have a third packet with low quality encoding. So we can play this. So packet number 1 and 2 play with high quality encoding, packet number 3 with low quality encoding, packet number 4 again with high quality encoding. So user may not really see that much difference. And that way this would work. The drawback is with this kind of things, we have to wait for the packet 4 to come. So our delay might increase. But that is better than losing a packet and not even playing it. So that means if we have every non-consecutive packet loss, even if every alternate packet is lost, we can still play the whole voice because we are having a low quality stream. So again, we are sending extra information. So 2 ways we can do FEC. One is n plus 1th packet by XORing. Another is attaching low quality stream, and if some packet is lost, play the low quality stream and error comes. Or you then you can append in the packet 4, you can append 2 and 3, packet 5, 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. So something is lost, 2 packets are lost, then you can play those 2, but your delay would increase. So that's one mechanism called FEC. Other mechanism is called interleaving. Let's say we have 20 millisecond voice chunk. Rather than transmitting all 20 millisecond voice chunk single, we divide this 20 millisecond voice chunk into 4 chunks of 5 millisecond each. The original packet is first 20 millisecond, second 20 millisecond, third 20 millisecond. So let's say chunk number now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. So each of these 4 chunks, first 20 millisecond corresponds to 1, 5, 9, and 13. Second corresponds to 2, 6, 10, and 14. Third corresponds to 7, 3, 7, 11, and 15, and so on, so forth. So we're interleaving small chunks and sending it together. What that means, the transmitter has to make sure that all the 4 chunks are available when it transmits. Now these chunks are transmitted. If there is no packet loss, you can get 1, 2, 3, and 4 and play properly. There are no issues there. So if there is no packet loss, we'll get first 5 milliseconds here, number 2 would be second, number 3 would be third, and number 4 would be fourth, and we should be fine. But assuming this chunk is lost, so first 20 milliseconds, we have number 1, number 2 packet, number 3 is lost, but number 4 is available. So in each of these, out of 20 milliseconds, we are losing 1. That means user can still make out what is being communicated even though we lost something, and that way we are trying to achieve. So we are not transmitting any extra information here. In FEC case, we are transmitting extra information. In interleaving case, we are not transmitting any extra information, but receiver has to wait for all the 4 chunks before it can play. So you probably have little larger delay. And this delay could work well for live streaming, but not for real-time conversation, both way talk. That's the way it will work. So this is what interleaving would be. Other approach could be concealment. Concealment meaning we don't give a packet, we somehow generate the lost packet. And simple cases would be, how can we generate a lost packet? Objective is, when we generate the packet, it should be as similar, as close to the packet that has been lost. It cannot be identical, but if we can make it as close, we should still be fine. And this will work for small packet losses, low rates, and speed will work fine. So if you have a packet of 4 to 440 milliseconds, we can have loss of 15%, or larger packet length, it may not really work out. So when you have larger chunk size, it may not even work out. So one of the simplest recovery concealment is play the previous packet what we received. So let's say we're sending 10 chunks and chunk number 9 is lost. We replay chunk number 8, or we replay the chunk number 10. So the moment chunk number 9 is lost, we have chunk number 8, we replay. We will little aberration, but since very minor packet loss, we are not putting a silence, we are replaying, and since segments are so small, one should be able to make out without much difficulty. This could be one. Since we are only doing repeat playing, there is no computational overhead. It normally works for small packet loss. Other case could be interpolation. Let's say packet number 9 is lost. The chunk number 9 is lost. We take the chunk number 8, chunk number 10, and interpolate. It could be linear interpolation, it could be quadrilateral, but once we interpolate, we generate the packet by interpolation in a graph, maybe simple line. It could be average of 8 and 10, or it could be some other way, but we're generating a packet number 9, assuming it's very close, and we play that packet. So this will work fine. This will give you better than repetition, but that means we have to wait for the packet number 10. So my delay would increase. There are different techniques which we use to play with voice over IP, and depends on what compromise we take. We can do FEC, forward error correction, which increases the bandwidth. We can do interleaving, that even 20 milliseconds we divide chunks, interleave chunks among 4 different chunks, and then something is lost. We have out of the 4 chunks we lose only 1 can play, and user can still work out. Other is the concealment technique, that if packet is lost, we regenerate the packet and then play it out. And the 2 techniques, one is repeat. That means if packet number X is lost, repeat the packet number X minus 1. This simple, no computation overhead. Or we can do interpolation. If packet number I is lost, then interpolate using chunk xi minus 1 and chunk xi plus 1. And best case could be taken average or any other way, and then generate the packet xi and play. And this way, we can play the packet, give better quality, but delay might slightly increase. So one has to decide in what kind of network, what things will work out, what the quality perception and take. FSA would be better than the concealment, but is increasing the bandwidth. So compromise has to be made. And that is what we basically do. To summarize, we started with voice over IP characteristics. Ideally, delay should be less than 150 milliseconds. Between 150 to 400 tolerable, beyond that it is bad. Then we look at the delay and jitter, and we can, how do we deal with jitter? One is fixed playout, one is variable playout. In variable playout, we use the same mechanism that we use in TCP, estimate the delay, estimate the variation, and compute this packet delay only for the first packet of the talk spurt. Because this will help increase or decrease my silence period. And we could be closer to the more reality. But after, for each talk spurt, after the first packet, each packet will play with a constant rate. And then we also dealt with packet loss. We looked at three mechanisms, which is FEC, interleaving, and the error concealment. So having studied the basic voice over IP, we look at the protocol that really used to transmit. So one protocol is RTP, which is used to transmit multimedia. We look at the characteristics of RTP. And another protocol is SIP, Substance Initiation Protocol. So one lecture is for RTP, other is for SIP. And that will bring to the end your module 4. If any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're done with the class. If no questions, you can drop out. If no question, thank you. I'll disconnect.